Welcome to the deep dive, where we take the sources you're curious about and we really extract all the good stuff, all the knowledge that you need without, burying you in details.
Right.
It's like, think of it as like your express lane to being well informed.
I like that express lane. I like that a lot.
So today you've sent us on a pretty cool exploration,
Yeah.
the Bach family.
The box.
We're going way beyond Johann Sebastian here, using excerpts from ngbach.pdf, which is like this treasure trove of like biographical details and lists of works and like bibliographical trails for just a ton of Bachs.
A whole bunch of them, yeah.
So our mission today is to illuminate the contributions and connections of these lesser-known musical figures and kind of offer you a richer understanding of this incredible musical dynasty.
Yeah.
And hopefully a few surprises along the way.
Oh, definitely some surprises. I
If
think
you-
I think you'll be surprised by how many Bachs there actually were.
Yeah, there's more than one.
Yeah, so the name Bach right away, I think for a lot of people conjures up Johann Sebastian, and for good reason. But this deep dive gives us a really cool opportunity to kind of trace the roots and branches of this remarkable musical family tree.
Yeah.
And your sources really provide this glimpse into a bunch of other really significant musicians within the Bach lineage.
Right.
And by going through their lives and their works,
Yeah.
we can really appreciate the depth and breadth of their collective impact.
Yeah.
I mean, get ready to discover a whole wider world of Bach.
I like it. A wider world of Bach. So let's get started tracing these roots by going way back
Yeah.
to the early generations.
Right.
The source material kind of introduces us to a Johann Bach listed as 3/57.
357.
Yeah, born in Gotha around 1612, and he became a town musician in Arnstadt.
Okay.
And interestingly enough, he was the son of a Caspar Bach, who's noted as like 3/A. So it seems like the musical tradition was already taking hold even back then.
It was in the family already, yeah.
What does this tell us about the beginnings of this whole musical story for the Bach family?
Well, what's fascinating here is that, even in these early mansions, we start to see those geographic centers that are going to become so important to the Bach family's activities.
Right.
Places like Gotha and Arnstadt.
Yeah.
This Johann 3/57 is really an early manifestation of the family's deep involvement in musical life at the local level.
Right.
And it kind of suggests that music wasn't just a profession for them, but an integral part of their identity even way back then.
Yeah. Cool. So then we have another Johann Bach. This one's number 4.
Number 4, okay.
In our source material, born in Weimar in 1604, and his journey seems a bit more extensively documented.
Okay.
We see him as an apprentice and journeyman Stadtpfeifer in Suhl,
Oh, wow.
then a town musician in Schweinfurt, and eventually an organist in both Schweinfurt and Erfurt.
Oh, so he got around.
Yeah, he got around. He finally settled as a town musician and organist at the Predigerkirche in Erfurt.
Okay.
What can we learn from this kind of career path? What was that like back then?
Yeah, so his progression from apprentice Stadtpfeifer, which is a town piper with civic duties, to sought-after organist, is really illustrative of the typical musical career trajectory of that time.
Right.
The Stadtpfeifer held a super important public role, providing music for ceremonies and events.
Oh, okay.
And moving into an organist position often represented greater stability and prestige,
Oh,
within the community's musical life.
right.
And it speaks to the value placed on both public music and sacred music.
Yeah.
So both sides of that musical life.
Yeah. And here's where it gets really interesting for this Johann Bach number 4. Our source mentions that in 1649, during his time at the Predigerkirche in Erfurt, the church got this massive, impressive organ built by Ludwig Campinus.
Oh, wow.
So what impact would like a huge acquisition like that have on Johann himself and the musical landscape there?
I mean, the arrival of such a substantial instrument, it must have been a major event
Yeah.
for the musical community in Erfurt. It expanded the sonic possibilities for church music and would have undoubtedly showcased Johann Bach's skills as an organist.
Right.
It highlights the importance placed on really high-quality instruments in enhancing both musical performance and the worship experience.
Yeah.
Patrons and congregations clearly valued music enough to invest in some really significant instruments.
Yeah. So his personal life also seems kind of noteworthy.
Okay.
He first married Barbara Hoffman, who was the daughter of his master, but that marriage was childless and ended with her early death.
Oh?
Then he married Hedwig Lemmerhirt, who came from this prominent family in Erfurt.
Okay.
So could this marriage have provided more than just companionship? Could it have opened doors for him professionally?
It's certainly plausible and actually quite common for the time.
Okay.
Marrying into a prominent family like the Lemmerhirts could have brought significant social and economic advantages.
Right.
These connections often facilitated access to patronage,
Right.
they influenced church appointments, and generally enhanced a musician's standing within the community. These social networks were really integral to a musician's career.
Yeah, we even have a few of his compositions listed, two motets. Unser Leben ist ein Schatten and sei nun wieder zufrieden, and an aria called Weint nicht, meinen Tod. And these were all published in EDM First Series, Volume 1, 1935. So it's fascinating that his musical output went beyond just performing.
Yeah,
So for anyone who's unfamiliar with that, what exactly is EDM?
that's a great question. EDM stands for Das Erbe Deutscher Musik,
Okay.
which translates to the heritage of German music.
Okay.
And this is a really important series of scholarly editions dedicated to publishing, significant works of German music from all these different historical periods.
Right.
So the fact that his compositions appear there, really signifies their historical value
Yeah.
and the recognition they've received from musicologists.
So for anyone who wants to dig deeper, the source gives us some scholarly breadcrumbs.
Okay.
There's articles by S. Orth in MF 1956 and BJB 1973, and a work by Bruck from 1990. So what do those abbreviations stand for?
Absolutely. So MF typically refers to Die Musikforschung,
Okay.
which is music research, a prominent German musicological journal.
Okay.
And BJB is the abbreviation for Bach Jahrbuch,
Okay.
the Bach Yearbook,
Oh, cool.
which is an annual publication specifically dedicated to research on the Bach family and their music.
Nice. So those will send you down the rabbit hole.
I definitely will.
Cool.
Yeah.
So moving on, we encounter another Johann Bach, this one number 59, born in Weimar in 1621.
All right.
He was the son of an Andreas Bach and had a career in the church.
Okay.
First as a cantor and deacon in Ilmenau, and later as a pastor in Lennstadt.
So a different path.
Yeah, a different path within the family, focusing more on the religious leadership.
Right.
So what does this tell us about their presence in society as a whole?
Yeah, this Johann 59 highlights that, while music was a dominant profession,
Right.
the Bach family's involvement in their communities went beyond those purely musical roles. Becoming a cantor still involved musical responsibilities, of course, often leading the church choir, overseeing music for services.
Right.
But his later transition to pastor, I think, illustrates the family's engagement with religious life and leadership in their community.
Okay, cool.
It wasn't just about the performance. It was about faith and service as well.
Right, and there's a little cross-reference in the text, Johann Bachsy, also under Hans Bach above.
Huh.
So this suggests some intricate family connections that our source doesn't fully detail here.
Right.
But it's a good reminder that we're looking at a really complex web of relationships here.
Absolutely.
How important are these familial links in understanding the whole Bach story?
I mean, they're crucial. The Bach family was this vast interconnected network.
Right.
And understanding these familial links helps us appreciate how musical traditions, opportunities, and even stylistic influences might have been shared and passed down through the generations.
Yeah.
So it wasn't just a collection of individual musicians.
Right.
It was really a musical ecosystem.
I like that, a musical ecosystem.
Yeah.
So let's move to the Erfurt line a little more specifically.
Okay.
We're introduced to Johann Aegidius Bach number 8, born in Erfurt in 1645,
1645.
who was the son of our earlier Johann number 4.
Okay.
Importantly, it says that he was taught music by his father, showing this direct transmission of musical knowledge within the family.
Right.
Is this a common thread that we see?
Oh, absolutely. The tradition of musical training being passed down directly from parent to child was a significant feature of the Bach family.
Yeah.
And Johann Aegidius, benefiting from his father's expertise, is a prime example of this.
Right.
And it created this really strong internal lineage of musical knowledge and practice
Right.
that contributed to the family's continued musical prominence.
And what a path he forged in Erfurt.
Yeah.
He became a violinist and director of the town music, then an organist at the Kaufmannskirche, and later at the Muggleskirche.
Wow.
So clearly a significant musical figure in the city.
He got around too.
Yeah, what did it even mean to be the director of the town music back then?
So as director of the town music, Johann Aegidius would have held this prominent civic musical role.
Okay.
He would have been responsible for organizing and leading music for all sorts of public events and ceremonies, and possibly even providing music for the town council.
Wow.
So it's a position of real leadership and influence within Erfurt's musical life.
So a pretty big deal.
Yeah, big deal.
He also played this crucial role as a teacher. the source specifically mentions J.G. Walther as one of his pupils.
Okay.
So that's a pretty significant connection, showing that the continuation of musical training extended beyond just the Bach family.
Yeah.
How significant was J.G. Walther in the broader musical landscape?
So J.G. Walther was a really highly respected composer, organist, and theorist in his own right, and his tutelage under Johann Bach demonstrates the broader influence of that Erfurt Bach line on the wider musical community.
Right.
It shows that their impact wasn't confined to just the family, but extended to shaping the musical skills and careers of others who went on to make their own contributions.
Right. So then we also have a Johann Egidius Bach number 36.
Okay.
Born in Erfurt in 1709. He was the son of Johann Christoph 19, and he held the position of cantor of Grossmünra.
Okay.
So the musical roles continued in this branch as well, just in a different location.
Right.
What were the typical responsibilities of a cantor?
So the cantor was primarily responsible for the music within a church.
Okay.
This often included composing or selecting music for services,
Okay.
leading the choir, teaching music to the choir members and sometimes other students,
Right.
and overseeing the church's musical resources like the organ.
Right.
It was a vital role in both the musical and spiritual life of the community.
Okay, so now let's make a connection to the most famous Bach.
Okay, the big one.
We encounter Johann Ambrosius Bach, number 11, born in Erfurt in 1645. He was the son of Christoph V, and crucially, the twin brother of another Johann Christoph, number 12.
Wow, two of them.
I know, and here's the big link for you, listener. He was the father of Johann Sebastian Bach.
Wow, okay, this is it.
This really brings the family history into focus.
It does. This is a pivotal point in our exploration.
Right.
Johann Ambrosius represents that direct paternal link
Right.
to the Johann Sebastian Bach that we all know.
Right.
His birth in Erfurt continues to highlight that region as a central hub for the Bach family's musical activity.
Right. The source just simply mentions his marriage to Maria. It's a brief note, but it signifies the next step in the lineage that would eventually lead to one of music history's giants.
Right, so even this small detail feels significant.
Totally. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
While the source provides limited information about Maria,
Right.
her marriage to Johann Ambrosius was a crucial step in that lineage that produced one of the most influential figures in Western music.
Absolutely.
It's a reminder that even the briefest historical details can have some profound consequences.
So now let's delve into the various Johann Christoph Bachs mentioned in our source.
Okay, how many are there?
I think there's a lot.
All right, well, let's tackle them.
First, we have Johann Christoph Bach, number 13, born in Arnstadt in 1642.
Okay.
He was the son of Heinrich, number 6. And our source sends us to a different section in the text, but that's not included in our excerpt.
Right.
But it suggests like further connection or information about him somewhere else.
I see.
It's interesting how the source itself kind of points to these deeper connections.
Yeah, acknowledging that internal reference is important because it reminds us that these biographical entries are often part of a larger narrative within the source.
Right.
And the fact that there's a pointer to more information later suggests that his story likely intersects with other aspects of the Bach family history in the full text.
Right. So then there's Johann Christoph Bach, number 12.
Okay, number 12.
The twin brother of Johann Ambrosius, 11.
All right, so we're back to the twins.
Yeah, born in Erfurt in 1645. And he had these musical roles as a town musician in Erfurt and later as a court and town musician in Arnstadt.
Okay.
So he was a violinist and followed a similar path to others we've seen,
Got it.
balancing both the civic and potentially courtly duties.
Right. So Johann Christoph XII's career really exemplifies those dual roles that a lot of musicians held at the time.
Right.
Serving the public needs of the town through civic music, but also potentially providing entertainment and musical services for the local court.
Right.
And the fact that he and his twin brother Johann Ambrosius both pursued musical careers
Right.
further underscores that really strong musical environment within their immediate family
Yeah.
and the opportunities that were available to them.
Now, this next Johann Christoph Bach is particularly interesting because of his direct connection to J.S. Bach.
Okay.
This is number 22, born in Erfurt in 1671.
Right.
The son of Johann Ambrosius 11, and therefore the older brother of Johann Sebastian. And we learn that he studied with the renowned Johann Pachelbel in Erfurt.
Oh, wow.
So a really significant musical education.
That's huge.
What impact would studying with someone like that have had on his development?
So studying with Johann Pachelbel, who was this super influential composer and organist,
Right.
would have provided him with a really rigorous musical foundation.
Right.
He would have been exposed to all the contemporary compositional techniques, performance practices,
Right.
and likely developed a strong understanding of keyboard music, given Pachelbel's own expertise.
Right.
So this mentorship undoubtedly played a crucial role in shaping his musical abilities and tastes.
So he had this brief stint as organist of the Thomaskirche in Erfurt,
Oh, wow.
which is a very prestigious position,
Yeah.
and then became the organist of the Michaeliskirche in Ohrdruf.
Okay.
He also taught at the Lyceum in Ohrdruf from 1700. So it seems like he was well established as this respected musician and educator.
Right.
So what does it tell us that he held all these significant positions?
His career trajectory indicates that he was really highly competent and respected.
Yeah.
Holding those organist positions at important churches like the Thomaskirche and the Michaeliskirche signifies a high level of skill and reputation.
Right.
And his teaching role at the Lyceum further underscores his standing as this knowledgeable and influential figure,
Yeah.
contributing to the musical education of the next generation.
It's interesting he declined the invitation to succeed Pachelbel as the town organist in Gotha,
Oh, really?
which suggests that he was content and settled in Ohrdruf.
Wow.
It kind of speaks to his already established reputation and maybe his personal preferences as well.
Right.
It makes you wonder what factors go into a decision like that.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Turning down such a prestigious appointment suggests that he had found a really stable and fulfilling situation in Ohrdruf.
Yeah, right.
Perhaps he valued his teaching responsibilities at the Lyceum.
Yeah?
Or maybe he just preferred the musical environment or the social connections that he'd established there.
Yeah.
It offers a glimpse into those personal considerations that influence a musician's career choices beyond just prestige or salary.
And here's the most personal connection after their parents died. Johann Christoph, 22, took on the responsibility of teaching his younger brother, Johann Sebastian,
Oh, wow.
from 1695 to 1700.
Wow.
And our source even mentions that J.S. Bach dedicated his Capriccio in BWV 993 to him.
Oh, wow.
In honor of Johann Christoph Bach.
That's beautiful.
That's a beautiful testament to their relationship and his role in his younger brother's life.
This is a profoundly important aspect of his legacy.
Right.
He stepped in to provide not only musical instruction, but also likely familial support
Right.
to his younger brother during a very difficult time.
Yeah.
And that dedication to the Capriccio speaks volumes about the respect, the gratitude and affection
Right.
that Johann Sebastian felt for his elder brother's guidance and care.
Yeah, it's the direct link to the formative years of a musical genius.
Totally, yeah.
The source notes that contemporary accounts called him optimum artifacts.
Okay.
But there's some uncertainty whether this referred to his performance or his composition.
I see.
It leaves a bit of a mystery for us to ponder. So what might that ambiguity suggest?
Well, the term artifacts, in that context, could refer to both exceptional performance skills and accomplished compositional abilities.
Okay.
So the ambiguity might suggest that he was really highly regarded in both areas.
Right.
Or perhaps that distinction between performer and composer wasn't as rigidly defined back then.
Right.
It kind of invites us to consider the possibility that he was this well-rounded musician
Right.
who excelled in multiple facets of his craft, even if one aspect wasn't overwhelmingly dominant.
Right. He also compiled significant collections of keyboard music,
Yeah.
the Andreas Bach book and the Muller manuscript,
Okay.
which are described as important sources of J.S. Bach's early works and music by other composers.
Wow.
So it seems like he played a vital role in preserving that musical heritage.
He did.
Why were those collections so important?
Well, those manuscripts are invaluable because they provide a direct window into the musical repertoire
Right.
that was being performed, studied, appreciated during that period.
Yeah.
And his efforts in compiling these collections not only preserved the early compositions of his younger brother,
Right.
giving us insights into his development, but they also offer a broader snapshot of the keyboard music that was circulating at the time,
Right.
including works by other significant composers.
Yeah.
So he acted as a curator, safeguarding these musical treasures for future generations.
I like that a curator that's cool. The source even mentions some attribution ambiguity.
Oh.
where some keyboard works assigned to Johann Christoph 13
Right.
potentially could be by Johann Christoph 22 instead.
Wow, wow.
So it really shows the complexities that musicologists face when trying to piece together these works, especially within such a musically active family.
Right. I mean, those challenges of attribution are quite common in music history,
Yeah.
particularly when you're dealing with composers from the same family,
Yeah.
with similar names and overlapping periods of activity.
Totally.
And it underscores the meticulous and often detective-like work
Yeah.
that musicologists undertake
Right.
to carefully analyze, you know, stylistic features, handwriting in manuscripts, and other historical clues
Yeah.
to try to determine the true authorship of musical works.
And again, for further reading, we have references to C. Frase's book on the Ohrdruf Bachs and H.J. Schultz's article in the Bachs Jahrbuch, as well as documents in Bitter.
Okay.
So there's plenty more to explore about this guy.
Absolutely. These bibliographical references give you, the listener, concrete avenues for further exploration
Right.
into his life and work and the scholarly discussion surrounding his significance.
Right.
They offer pathways to continue your own deep dive
I like that.
into this fascinating figure.
So we also have a Johann Christoph Bach, number 17.
Okay, another one.
Born in Erfurt in 1673, he was the son of Johann Christian number 7
Okay.
and followed a career as a cantor and organist in various locations, including Niederturn, Erfurt's Thomaskirche, and finally Geren.
So he had quite a career, too.
Yeah, it's remarkable how many members of this family dedicated their lives to church music.
It really is. This Johann Christoph 17 further exemplifies that strong tradition of musical service within the extended Bach family.
Right.
You know, with multiple generations finding their calling in church music across these various communities in the region.
Right.
And it speaks to the deep connection between music and religious life during this era.
Right.
And the Bach family's really central role within it.
Yeah, he also compiled an organ book that later belonged to his son,
Okay.
and a collection of works by other composers like Pachelbel and Fischer.
Oh, wow.
So this reinforces the pattern we've seen of Bach family members preserving and transmitting these musical materials.
Right.
It seems like it was such an important aspect of their musical culture.
It is this practice of compiling and passing down musical collections was vital for the dissemination of musical knowledge
Yeah.
and repertoire within the family and the wider community.
Right.
It reflects a shared appreciation for the music of their time and a commitment to ensuring its survival
Right.
and continued performance.
Yeah, like their own little family archive.
It's like a family archive, yeah, of musical taste and practice.
Now let's look at the broader works and legacy beyond just Johann Sebastian.
Okay.
Our source points to the Altbekisches Archive, edited by M. Schneider, as this key collection of early Bach family compositions.
All right.
And this was published in EDM First Series, volumes 1 and 2 in 1935.
Okay.
So it sounds like a treasure trove of Bach family music.
It is. The Altbekisches Archive is truly an invaluable resource
Yeah.
for anyone interested in understanding the musical landscape of the Bach family.
Right.
Before Johann Sebastian reached his full, artistic maturity.
Right.
It brings together this remarkable collection of vocal works by all these different family members
Yeah.
and offers a unique glimpse into their compositional styles and the musical world that they inhabited.
So the source then gives us this fascinating list of vocal works from this archive,
Okay.
attributing them where possible.
All right.
We see arias like Ach, wie sehnlich wart ich der Zeit and Auf, lasst uns den Herrn loben.
Okay.
And numerous motets, including Benedictus, das Blut Jesu Christi, Dem Menschen ist gesetzt, einmal zu sterben, and tons more.
Right.
Notably, Unser Leben ist ein Schatten is attributed to our earlier Johann Bach number 4.
Wow. Okay.
And the scoring details are even provided, so it gives us an idea of the forces that were involved.
Wow, that's great.
This list really underscores the breadth of their compositional output.
It does. This extensive list provides a tangible sense of the rich vocal tradition within the Bach family.
Yeah.
The attributions help us distinguish the compositional voices of different family members.
Right.
And those details about scoring the number of voices the instruments allow us to imagine the sonic textures
Right.
and scale of these works.
Totally.
It's a glimpse into a really vibrant and active musical scene.
So we also have this list of lost vocal works by Johann Christoph Bach from the Ansbach inventory of 1686, with titles like Konditor Coeli and Der Herr ist König.
Wow.
It's kind of sad to think about music that's lost, but it hints at the potential scale of their creative output.
It does.
What does it tell us that these works are even listed in an inventory?
So the inclusion of these lost works in the Ansbach inventory of 1686 is significant because it tells us that they were once part of the musical holdings of the Ansbach court,
Okay.
which suggests that his music, this Johann Christoph Bach,
Right.
was valued and performed beyond his immediate circle.
Right.
And the mention of the scoring gives us some idea of the scale and ambition of these now vanished pieces.
Yeah, so finally, for anyone who's truly captivated by the wider Bach family, our source provides even more bibliographical resources.
There's more.
There's more works by Gerber Walther M. Schneider's thematic catalog W. Freitag on Stettener Schall, on Ansbach D. Sackmann, on Johann Michael de Gerenbach, and P. Wolny on music in Schweinfurt.
Wow, that's a lot.
It's like the rabbit hole goes so deep.
It really does. This comprehensive list of further reading provides you, the listener, with numerous well-respected resources for really diving into those specific branches and individual members that have sparked your interest.
Yeah.
It really demonstrates the extensive scholarly work that's been dedicated to uncovering and understanding the contributions of this remarkable dynasty.
Yeah. So to summarize our deep dive, it's clear that the Bach family was way more than just Johann Sebastian.
Oh, yeah.
It was this vast, interconnected network of talented musicians spanning multiple generations,
Right.
holding all these diverse musical positions across all these different towns and cities and courts.
Exactly.
We've encountered them as teachers, organists, town musicians,
Right.
and of course composers in their own right, each
Yeah.
contributing to the rich tapestry of music in their time.
Exactly. This exploration reveals a vibrant and multifaceted musical tradition within the Bach family.
Yeah.
And it demonstrates that Johann Sebastian's unparalleled genius emerged from this fertile ground that was cultivated by his ancestors and his relatives,
Yeah.
and their contributions, while perhaps not as universally celebrated,
Right.
were nonetheless essential in shaping the musical landscape of their era
Right.
and laying the foundation for his achievements.
It definitely feels like our mission's been accomplished.
I think so.
We've shed some light on these fascinating, lesser-known Bach family members
Yeah.
and highlighted their individual importance and hopefully given you, the listener, a broader and more surprising appreciation for their collective musical legacy.
Absolutely. By looking beyond the singular brilliance of J.S. Bach, we gain a much richer and more nuanced understanding
Yeah.
of the depth and breadth of musical talent that permeated this family.
Yeah.
And each individual we've discussed today played a vital role in the ongoing story of music.
Yeah.
And their contributions deserve to be acknowledged and appreciated.
Absolutely. So this leads to a final thought for you. Consider how this powerful and enduring musical tradition within the entire Bach family might have influenced the environment in which Johann Sebastian developed his unparalleled genius.
Right.
Were there shared musical styles passed down through generations?
It makes you wonder.
Specific pedagogical approaches used within the family, or even a strong sense of musical expectation and legacy that played a significant role in his development?
Right. All that came before him.
It really makes you think about the interconnectedness of this dynasty and the enduring power of family tradition.
Absolutely fascinating stuff.
Yeah, it's really cool. So join us next time for another deep dive into a topic that you're curious about.